Hi, I'm Jim.
And I'm Jeff.
Thanks for listening to the Stanching Tyranny Hour. Pour yourself a cup of coffee and pull up a chair while we start the march toward liberty.
That doesn't make sense. How does one march while in a chair?
Good question. You can figure it out. You're the engineer.
Well, stay tuned and we'll let you know on 1450 AM WPG.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Glad you could be here.
It's Saturday again.
Another Stanching Tyranny hour ready to go into the can.
Yeah.
And boy, the tyranny just marches on, doesn't it?
It sure does.
It's great. And we're trying to do everything we can to stanch the tyranny.
Yeah, but in the meantime, it snowed.
It did snow.
How's everybody enjoying the snow?
Our
kids loved it. They were outside playing in it last night.
Yep. When we got home from a very late night of work, they were still out playing, which was great.
Yeah, absolutely. So hopefully everybody's enjoying the snow. It's not too much.
Yeah.
And it looks kind of nice.
Yeah, but it looks like it'll melt quick, which is always desirable.
Absolutely.
All right, so we're glad you could join us here. Just a couple reminders. Make sure you like our fan page on Facebook, Stanching Tyranny. Also like the WPG Facebook page, and all the fans we can get, the more the merrier. Jeff and I were on Harry Hurley's show this past Wednesday. I don't know if you guys listened, but listen to Harry's show. He's on weekday mornings, 6 to 10 a.m. And we had a little bit of a disagreement with Harry about I'm now going to call it an old wives' tale.
Yeah,
an old wives' tale that hot water freezes faster than cold water. Yeah. And Jeff and I did our part to do an experiment. That experiment result is posted on the Stanching Tyranny Facebook page.
A little bit of Mythbusters going on there on the Hurley in the Morning show.
And there's a lunch up in the air due to the results. I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag because I really would like you to go on to Facebook and like our page and watch the video
while you're there.
And see what the results are. So we placed a little wager.
But that's not why we're here.
That's not why we're here.
We're here to talk about more guns and more money.
Yeah.
But not for you.
Well, of course not.
The guns and the money are not for you because you don't qualify.
So let's start with the money. I want to get right into it. So I don't know if people... This is a Fox News station in that Fox is on the news. Right. And so I imagine a good number of listeners watch the Bill O'Reilly show.
I would think.
Yeah, so Bill O'Reilly in his, they calls it the talking points memo, had a pretty alarming talking points memo that he restated.
You play that?
Can you go ahead and hit the play button on that, Scott?
Hey, the Government Accountability Office, the nonpartisan investigative arm of Congress, released its annual audit of the U.S. government. The report covers the fiscal years 2011 and 12. The conclusion of the report is this, quote, absent policy changes, the federal government continues to face an unsustainable fiscal path. Let me repeat that. Absent policy changes, the federal government continues to face an unsustainable fiscal path. If the feds do not stop the wild spending and do not reform Medicare and Social Security, the U.S. dollar will collapse.
Okay, go ahead and pause it there, Scott.
Yeah,
no, I for one, personally can't stand Bill O'Reilly.
Well, yeah, I'm not a big fan of his either.
Yeah, but it's good to see that this is making it out onto the mainstream.
Well, and I'm surprised it actually didn't get more play and more talk on other outlets than it did. But what he's saying has some truth to it.
Some truth, right.
Some truth. Yeah. And I emphasize the word some. See, the problem I have with Bill O'Reilly is he'll sit there and he'll make the case about the unsustainable path.
Right.
And
which is true. That's
and
the true part.
He'll lay it at the feet of Barack Obama.
Right.
Now, I am no lover of Barack Obama. I think he's a bum and a knucklehead. But you can't just blame it all on Barack Obama either.
This has been in progress for 100 years.
Yeah, a long time.
Yeah.
And the other issue I have is he makes the case that, Social Security and Medicare and all these entitlements need to be reduced.
Right. So what he's saying is that we, the people, that we have to pay for it.
Yeah. Now keep in mind, we are the people who, quote unquote, put into this system.
That's how they sold it to us.
That's how they sold it to us.
Yeah.
Right? And now Bill O'Reilly is basically saying we shouldn't get what we were told was ours
That's how
all
it was
along.
sold to us. But
right?
instead, he doesn't say anything about reducing spending in, I don't know, military.
Yeah.
And he'll call it defense spending, but
Right.
it's not.
Of
It's
course.
militarism.
Yeah.
We're spending money, bombing women and children in countries that don't, with people who don't look like us, or at least don't look like Bill O'Reilly.
And honestly have very slim chance ever even hurting us.
And
right?
probably have never even heard of 9/11
right.
and all that, and probably don't care to be all that truthful.
Yeah.
They're trying to live their lives just like we are.
Right. But we bombed them nonetheless. So
right.
Bill O'Reilly thinks that that's perfectly reasonable, and my bet is he'd be perfectly willing to increase.
Oh yeah,
such
no
spending.
holds. Yeah, absolutely.
So
right.
our point is, don't believe the Republican talking points that they are so conservative that they just want to reduce spending and they're all about getting the federal government back to being small. You know what? Baloney.
Right.
And we have proof.
Of course we do.
The proof is the debt ceiling measure. Did listeners, did you hear about the debt ceiling?
Oh yeah, it's
bill
still in the news.
that was passed this week?
Yep.
Right? The Republican bill, which by the way, Barack Obama said he will sign. So if it's all that conservative, why is Barack Obama in such a hurry
So everybody
to sign
remembers the late 2011 fight, about the debt ceiling.
Yeah, the fiscal cliff.
We're
and
not
all that.
raising the debt ceiling unless we come to grips with spending, and we're going to enact mandatory spending cuts in 2013 and there's nothing you can do about it, and that's the only way that we'll raise the debt ceiling. Remember all that?
Yeah, I remember.
No, forget that.
Yeah.
Forget it.
So it comes to be that they went ahead and the House passed this law that because we're at the debt ceiling right now, right?
We took the extraordinary measures.
Yeah, but we hit the debt ceiling on the 31st.
Right.
So they just recently passed this law that would suspend the debt ceiling until May 19th.
May 19th.
Rather than increase its level.
Woo! Oh, yeah.
All right.
That's just a couple days after Riley's birthday. Isn't that nice, Riley?
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
So anyway, so do you know what this means, listeners? All right, let me lay it out to you.
It means the status quo.
So remember, the Republicans are standing up there for months and months saying, we must make sure that we don't allow this president to increase the burden that we place on our children, blah, 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 right? That's what they did.
Yeah.
But yet, they went ahead and suspended the debt ceiling. So, what that means in English is, there's no more debt ceiling.
Right. Because what ultimately happened is that May 19th will come. They'll probably extend it or something, but ultimately there will be no debt ceiling.
Yeah, but in the meantime, there is no debt ceiling, literally.
Yeah.
So between now and May 19th, what they're going to do is basically allow federal government spending to be whatever it is, and then when May 19th comes along, they'll just pass a law retroactively to make the debt ceiling whatever the difference is between the 16.9 trillion or whatever it is.
No, wait.
And whatever it ends up being on May 19th.
Yeah, but see, this is strategy, because what they did was they said, you know what? We're going to make it so you have to do a budget.
Yeah. Oh, that'll really show them.
Yeah,
that'll really show them. That'll show that Barack Obama who's boss, won't it?
Budget.
Yeah, by doing a budget.
Yeah.
And you would think that would be true, except for the fact that the budget isn't binding.
No,
the budget's not binding. The budget don't mean nothing. You know what? What's that?
If you do a budget in your household, you do a list of expenses, you do a list of incomes, and you try and balance them, maybe eke out some savings, and that's your budget. Now, you have skin in the game with that budget. It's important to your household to make sure that budget is successful. But do they really have any skin in the game? No, of course not. It's not their money.
They don't care.
They don't care. It's your money.
And so I quote right from the Wall Street Journal: the budget is not binding legislation. Rather, It broadly sets out each party's vision for the role of the federal government.
Yeah.
In other words, who cares?
Yeah.
They're not going to go by the budget.
Well,
so it really don't much matter a
right.
hill of beans
Yeah.
whether they make a budget or, like the last 3 years, don't make a budget.
Right.
It don't matter.
Yeah, so like I bet Carl in Egg Harbor, if he had a budget and we were just sending him money that he had,
Right.
you know, it wasn't his money, it was our money, we just kept sending it to him.
Right.
Would he care all that much about the budget, sticking to the budget? Carl, would you care about sticking to that budget?
No, and if I needed more money, I'd just tax you more.
Yeah, that's all.
You just say,
That's
Jim
all.
and Jeff,
Know
I
that.
need more money. Send me more money. We say, all right, Carl,
me
but
more.
you need to get a budget.
And Carl says,
okay,
yeah, I'll make a
do
budget.
the
Yeah,
budget.
don't you worry. Just send me more money first. Right?
Okay, did you ever have anybody say something and you're not sure they said it? Bug?
Yeah. We said
yeah,
bug.
right. Absolutely.
You know, we'll have to
Yeah.
explain that one of
There's
these.
a story behind
There is a
that.
story behind that.
I know.
Yeah.
And I remember you guys had a contest. I don't think anybody won it.
No.
No.
Yeah.
No,
I didn't
that,
say anything, did I?
the
No.
lady called the wrong show. Somebody did call.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
she called the wrong
Had
show,
that.
Right.
and she had the right answer.
She had the right answer,
you know,
but she called.
yeah.
She called
Right,
Chance
that's
Show.
one.
Yeah.
Then you had two other women call last week, so I think would it be fair to say you have 3 women caller radio?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
we're
think we
doing
do.
pretty good.
I think we do.
Mhm.
Yeah, we're doing
Okay.
all right with that.
Absolutely.
Okay, they're having a gun buyback in Trenton today. I
I
thought.
know. You
isn't
know
that
what,
great?
Carl? That's on our list of things to talk
Yeah,
about. We're just so
okay.
excited about
One-
that.
They'll pay you $25 for a BB gun. You know that dreaded. Watch out! You
Oh,
shoot
sure.
your eye out.
That's right.
BB
That's
gun,
right.
Yeah.
Which you can't buy in New Jersey without a firearm.
Right.
Isn't that the most ridiculous thing in the world?
Exactly.
That's
I knew
crazy.
somebody that went to Tennessee and recently bought one last
Mhm.
year.
Right.
And they just went into the store and bought it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were in Dix one weekend. The guy had just moved up from South Carolina, and he
Yeah.
was in Dix trying to buy a BB gun, and I could hear him saying, "No,
Wow.
no, just
It's a toy. It's a
toy.
BB
It's a
gun."
BB gun." And the guy at the counter was like, "No, you got to have." And the purchaser, he's like, "You're kidding,
He's
right?"
like,
it's
you know what I mean,
you
right?
know what I
A
mean?
BB
It's
gun?
a BB gun. You know, it's an air pistol. You know.
And it shoots little plastic
Yeah.
pellets. Yeah.
Nuts.
Yeah, this is the brainchild of this Shirley Turner, who we'll talk about in probably towards the end of the show.
Yeah.
That and
Hey,
the-
Right
Carl,
now.
what do you think they'll give us for a paper gun?
Well, how about a bubble gum?
Yeah,
bubble gun,
How much
yeah.
would they give us for that? We'll
you
be
know
getting
what?
into
That will be
too.
a fun thing
Yeah.
to do. Right up there with a case of Hello Kitty bubble gum.
Yeah,
Right.
And be like, yeah, here we are. Here we are.
Yeah.
We're with our guns.
And the
That
best
will be
one
a
is
riot.
they're paying $50 for guns that don't work. Now, is anybody going to say it doesn't work when they can get $150 for one that works?
Yeah, this works just fine.
Sure.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
like they're
And they
testing
ain't going
them.
to be able to fire it in the church to see
Right,
if it works
right.
or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Of course it works. You
Oh
know.
boy.
And one more thing I want to bring up. Did you ever hear of hot dog soup or broth? I guess it would be, because after you cook your hot dogs in a pan, in a
Yeah, after
pot,
you boil them, yeah.
you take them out and have them for dinner or whatever, and then you have the broth left over. So that, I think that's hot dog broth. Maybe one of our kind lady callers can give us the recipe for that.
Hot
That-
dog
that-
broth.
You know, I've never
you ever have
actually
it?
tasted the
I've
hot
never-
dog
you
broth,
know,
but I
I'm
imagine it
thinking-
tastes pretty good.
It might be pretty darn good.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I like hot dogs. I
Yeah,
like
me
broth.
too.
Right.
Hot dog
Hey.
broth.
You can't go wrong.
Right. Yeah, how can you go wrong with that?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Right. I guess they're going to have to make a lot more of them $1 trillion coins on the way we're going.
Oh, looks like it. Looks like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, all we say, you know, if what we could do is mint 16 of them, like you said. I think you said last
Yeah,
week.
right off.
And
Yep.
just send them over to China and say, thanks, you guys keep the change.
But don't you
Yeah, we're
worry.
even.
Yeah.
We're even now.
Yeah.
But don't you worry, Carl. Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid and other Senate Democratic leaders applauded Mr. Boehner for, quote, showing leadership on the issue of the debt ceiling and removing the potential for the U.S. to default on its
Oh,
obligations.
good for him.
See, so they're all figuring it out, Carl. Don't you worry.
Mm-hmm.
They're
I'm
on the
not
job.
worried. I mean, they do such things not to... I'm wondering how November's going to go because I think they're making a lot of people that voted for them not happy. Everybody that got their recent paychecks aren't happy.
Yeah.
I think the military people, what they want to do, the people that have retired from the military with TRICARE, I think they want to pay 3 to 5 times more than what they're paying. I think Congress has to approve that. Unless the president does it with an executive order. When he does that, they're going to have a lot more people happy with him. What do you think?
No, don't you worry, Carl. You just sit down and pay your taxes and be quiet. Don't cause any trouble.
That's right.
And make sure Congress, they get their automatic pay raises now. So as long as they're happy, that's all that counts.
Yep, that's it.
Right. Right. And I guess you should throw names out. Like, is Tony from Peeville on their line or?
Not yet. Not yet.
Don't throw that out yet. Okay, I didn't throw it out. Nobody heard that.
Right.
Okay. Your guy running the board, he could have bleeped it out or whatever.
He's watching. All right, Carl. Thank you so much for calling.
Good talking to you.
All right.
Your show's a lot of fun.
Thank you. But we actually have some video of the discussions here. If you can play that first one.
Yeah.
This is the debt ceiling
live
discussions
on the House
live
floor,
on the House floor
right?
here, right?
Listen, Mr. Samsonite, about the briefcase. My friend Harry and I have every intention of fully reimbursing you.
Open it up.
Open it up! Go ahead. Open it up. Do what he says. Hurry. What is this? Where's all the money? That's as good as money, sir. Those are IOUs. Go ahead and add it up. Every cent's accounted for. Look. See this? That's a car. 275 thou. Might want to hang on to that one.
That's right. That was Paul Ryan speaking, I believe.
Right.
On the debt ceiling and how they're really going to take care of business.
Don't worry, they got it under control. It's all accounted for.
But let's take a call from Andrea in Summers Point. Hi, Andrea.
Good morning.
Hey, Jim. Hey, Jeff. I just heard you need my recipe for hot dog soup.
Yeah, hot dog soup recipe.
That's an old Jack Benny thing. Yeah, we were so poor. My dad would eat the hot dogs, so we got the broth. But here's my personal recipe for it. You dunk a little caller that you don't know what it is, man or woman, like it's just Pat from Saturday Night Live, okay?
Right. Just Pat.
But the ice cube thing, I was listening, Harry was playing that, on the 3 Women Caller show. But again, it's just...
Did we lose Andrea?
Yeah,
we lost you, Andrea.
Yeah, so call back if you get your phone back.
All right. Well, the 3 women caller. I think that's the going joke on the because not many women call into talk radio, from what I understand.
That's
so
just
they're all welcome here.
Absolutely.
And you can take jabs at the Republicans and Democrats just as much as we can.
It's fun,
and we'd love to hear it. But one thing I noticed this yesterday, 10-year bond yields, I should say, were up to 1.95, just over 1.95%. After being about 1.8 all week.
So what that means is yields go up when you're trying to attract buyers. Right.
Yeah.
So they need to attract buyers, so the yields are going up.
Yeah.
And so it's probably a good reason that they need to attract buyers, because there's a lot of stuff going on out there.
And we encourage listeners to watch the 10-year note yield and keep an eye on what that happens. So we always, of course, want to wonder why.
Yeah, why is it
going
up?
We have a few things. Well, Germany is deciding to take back their gold.
They want to repatriate their gold, right?
Yeah.
For some reason, I think it was the part of the peace treaty at the end of World War II.
Yeah.
We, America, and I think France and
Britain,
England, ended up with Germany's gold.
Yeah.
It's still their gold
for safekeeping,
but we're keeping it safe. And this clip we just played kind of rings true too, doesn't it?
They probably.
So we're supposed to be holding their gold for them,
right? They're probably like Mr. Samsonite, there, and they're like, let's just have. Now they're giving them 7 years.
7 years to
bring back their
home.
gold, which really cracks me up. I wonder whose idea that was.
Yeah,
I bet it was Timmy Geithner or Ben Bernanke's.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so another one is China.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of gold, China is now number 2 in world gold reserves, just behind who? Germany?
No. They unseated Germany.
Oh, they unseated
Germany. We're
Germany.
number one. They unseated
one.
Germany was number 2, and now China is number 2.
Yeah.
So I smell a gold-backed currency on the horizon.
I do too.
The central banks will try and get as much gold as they can while it's cheap, and they're probably helping to depress the price of gold, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But they want to gobble it up so that they can declare a gold-backed currency.
Right. Our motto is: if the central bank is buying gold, you better buy gold.
You better
too.
be buying gold, right?
So it's China number 2. We're number 1. That is, if you believe that we even have gold in Fort Knox. You know, in Fort Knox, they haven't audited our gold for like 50-some years, even longer.
Yeah, it might be full of those.
It might be the Mr. Samsonite deal again.
What is it? Harry? What is it?
Harry.
Harry Christmas? No. Harry's the other guy. What's his name?
Lloyd
Christmas. That's it.
Yeah. So there's that.
Andrea is back. Let's go to Andrea. Hi, Andrea.
Yeah, I was listening to the Ice Cube when the two of you were doing that. That was on the Black Horse Pike.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah, right outside our building.
My husband's listening because I told him, let's just figure this one out. Does this really take a genius? Do you think Sea Isle ice or Summers Point ice, if that's true, why don't they just make all their ice cubes with hot water?
Well, that's a good question.
Yeah. Well,
of course,
it'd save energy,
but for all we know, it might be a industry secret.
How could you save energy if you got to heat the water before you freeze it? And that's
figure.
Yeah,
right.
And then that's a good question.
Use energy to heat it up so you can cool it down faster.
Right, because it's faster.
By freezing it. Listen, I don't know if you caught this story on hot dog soup. Now, the fanciest cities to live in. You'd think like Worth Avenue in Palm Beach, Florida.
Yeah,
right?
That sounds pretty fancy.
Or you'd think like Rodeo Drive in Beverly Hills.
Fancy.
No, it's Washington, D.C.
Oh, of course.
That's
of
nice.
Course. Yeah.
Well, nothing but the best for our overlords.
It's not self-made worth. It's the extraction.
Oh, that's exactly what it is.
But and guess who? The lobbyists, which Barack Obama, thank God he got rid of all of them.
Oh, sure, yeah, absolutely.
But Andrea, I don't begrudge them to have the fanciest trimmings.
Oh, that's how we attract the best talent.
They're doing the people's business.
What do you mean? Lobbyists because that's the biggest Lamborghini and Maserati. In fact, they moved their headquarters there.
I'll bet they did.
Yeah,
$325,000. Now we have one. But the insurance, on it in New Jersey is we had to sell it because we couldn't afford the insurance on it. The only thing that they really, I think it was Lloyd's of London.
Would insure
They're the only ones that would insure it. Huh? Lloyd.
But I know it's been terrible for us. I mean,
that's a shame.
You
we
try
haven't
to work
seen you
hard
on
and you give up a lot, especially with the hot dog soup.
Right.
But you'd think. Boy, am I being grandiose and not liking hot dog broth?
Well, what we decide we're going to do with our hot dog broth, we're going to put some grass clippings in there to give it a little texture.
Yeah.
I was going to see maybe take the hot dog broth and freeze them and see which one freezes quicker.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
All right, guys.
All right.
Show.
Good talking to you. Thank you. All right, and let's take one more. We have Al in Atlantic City. Good morning, Al.
Morning, Al.
Good morning. I just want to let you know that there's not. Now I don't know if there's any gold in Fort Knox, but there's very little because most of the gold is under the Federal Reserve Bank in underground in New York.
Yeah,
You can go on a computer and you can actually see all the gold and see, how they move it around and everything that.
Yeah, so that really makes me feel safe.
That's right.
Yeah, that the Federal Reserve has our gold.
Right.
Right.
So Fort Knox probably is empty.
Yeah. I'm sure.
I mean, Fort Knox is where the people's gold would be, right?
Well, that's when they built it back when Roosevelt took everybody's gold.
Right.
And they stored it there.
I think they have probably something more valuable in Fort Knox. Probably the Apple iPhones are all there.
It might be.
Right.
It might be.
Yeah. You ever eaten one of those out? They're really good.
Yeah.
All right, Al. Thank you for your call.
Thank you.
Yeah. So there probably is a good bit of it. The Federal Reserve's taking good care of it, because we pledged basically our sovereignty to the Federal Reserve. But no worries, because again, the bond yields are up, and here's some more news from this week. Japan is going to basically flood the world with yen.
They're tired of the deflation.
They're tired of the deflation.
Well, they need some inflation. So what are they going to do? They're going to print a whole bunch of yen.
Yeah.
So float them out there and get the prices up.
Yeah, so watch that yen exchange rate. The Japanese want it to be around 90, and it crossed 90 yesterday, so they're succeeding.
Right. But remember, too, we don't want the yen to go up.
Right.
We want the yen to be down.
Right.
Because it's better for us.
Yeah.
So how do we react?
See,
we print, right?
It's what's called tit for tat, listeners, because we don't want the yen to go down more, because that makes our exports more expensive. Right. So we got to print more to balance the Japanese printing more.
Yeah. So what we have is basically a currency war.
Oh, the currency wars are coming. But it all ties back to the debt ceiling pretty darn nicely, doesn't it?
It does.
And, we have a prediction about the debt ceiling, and that is the debt ceiling is going to go bye-bye.
Right.
What they're doing now, they're just going to end up doing that. They're going to get rid of the debt ceiling, and the Congress is going to say, yeah, well, but if the spending gets out of control, we'll step in and we'll pass a law to make sure that it stops.
Yeah.
And so what they'll do is they'll handle it just like the congressional pay raises.
Yeah.
Now we know how that used to happen, right?
Right. Yeah. They used to have to. Somebody would have to put out a bill to Congress to say, we all deserve raises, and here's the bill that says
we want to pass a law.
How much we want to raise our pay.
Yeah, so if this law passes, we get a raise.
Right.
Yeah. Well, they did away with that a few years ago. Now
that was too inconvenient.
Now, see, they get their automatic pay raises.
Yeah.
But it can be stopped.
Sure.
It can be stopped. The Congress can submit a bill to stop their automatic pay raises.
And how many times has that happened?
Yeah, well, let me count. Let's see. I carry the... zero. Zero.
Right.
Yeah. So they're working hard for you.
I'm sure somebody has a bill at the ready to propose to stop that.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it'll get a lot of support among the Congress people.
Yeah.
Sure.
They would never, do an end run around that to somehow... basically nullify it or make it irrelevant by burying it into other legislation, would they?
No, absolutely not.
But, it's important that we have these legislators that are constantly working and doing our business.
Well, what would we do without them?
I don't know. Maybe Tony knows.
Tony probably does know. He's probably at a CFR meeting.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good morning, Tony.
Yeah, there is no debt ceiling.
Hey,
right.
There is no debt ceiling.
No, of course not.
They'll just print more money or whatever, and that's it. No, they'll form a couple more committees at $100,000 a year to figure out how to control the spending.
Sure, they'll have their retreats in the resorts in Virginia.
Oh, absolutely. And didn't Hillary just look lovely at the hearings? She's going with the schoolmarm look with the Doris Day hairdo, with glasses. She looked just gorgeous.
Don't
you love a woman who just gets tough?
Yeah, and I could have sworn, Tony, they panned out with the video. I could have sworn I saw you sitting next to her holding her hand.
Is that you?
I thought that. Tell you that. I wasn't holding her hand, but what difference does it make?
Oh yeah,
it's all for show. Tony. You know the deal. It's all for show.
That was probably
Carl intrigued my curiosity there with this hot dog soup yesterday.
Yeah.
We were out and. You know, they had a gun buyback program over here in Pleasantville.
Oh, did they? How did that go?
Well, wait a minute. It gets better. Hold on.
All right.
I turned in all my guns.
Yeah.
So, and I don't want to kill anybody.
Sure.
I just want to disable them if they break into the house. So what I did was, I went up to Philadelphia, and I bought one of those air rifles that the Philly Fanatic has, where he loads up with hot dogs and shoots them into the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, but it came with a 30-shot clip. I had to turn it in and then get one that just holds 10 hot dogs instead of 30 hot dogs.
That was reasonable.
And I wanted to get some hollow point hot dogs, but they told me only law enforcement can purchase them. Now, what they do is they hollow out the tip of the hot dog.
Uh-huh.
You can get two different types. They fill one up with mustard or the other with sauerkraut.
Okay.
It explodes on impact.
Well, you can shoot me with the sauerkraut one all day long.
All
day long, shoot me with that
one.
So
I figured I'd just throw that out there. But listen, and Carl's got my phone number. He knows where I live. I'm making, as a matter of fact, I got a big pack of hot dogs in the refrigerator. I'm making hot dog soup up tonight. And,
excellent.
And if he wants to bring over a little Tupperware there, I'll give him a couple hot dogs and a little bit of the broth, because I always wind up making too much anyway.
Yeah, that's true. That always happens.
That's great, Tony.
All right.
I'm really disappointed with this new job I got here, this technician job there with the fruit fly.
Are you still at that racket, are you?
I got to bring my own tweezers and buy my own rubber gloves for the job to remove the condom from the male fruit fly.
Yeah, isn't that against some sort of OSHA rule or something?
Or
I don't know. I filed a complaint with
OSHA
there. I don't know, unsafe work conditions or something. But it gets a little sticky now and then. But you know how it is.
Well, don't shoot your eye out with that, Tony.
No. But I'm taking that hot dog gun out on the range tomorrow, give it a whirl, see how it works out. So I'll call you guys next week there and let you know how I made out on the test. You have to qualify with it.
Of course.
It's considered an assault weapon.
Yeah,
it shoots more than 10
rightfully
hot dogs,
rightfully so. Well, I'm glad you're doing that, Tony, and you let us know the results next week.
I love you guys. You guys are great, man. I love you.
Thank you, Tony.
You know what I'm saying?
Thank you very much.
Keep up the good work, guys, and just keep paying them taxes drinking that Kool-Aid, and we'll all be happy running barefoot through a field of daisies.
That's right. That's
right.
What
do you think?
Government supplied daisies, of course.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
All right.
Have a good one, guys.
You too. Yeah, Tony's so right.
I'm glad he's doing he's being a responsible citizen. He had the 30-round clip in the hot dog gun, and he went and he got it modified to the 10 rounds. That's just being a patriotic citizen.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and because the government's working for the people,
right?
And it reminds me of the wild pig story. You ever hear that story?
That's a good story.
So there's a story about what do you do when you need to catch yourself some wild pigs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So the story is that when you need to catch the wild pigs, they're hard to catch because they're fast and they're pretty smart.
Right.
Except when it comes to food.
They're pigs.
They're pigs.
All.
Yeah.
They want to eat.
So what you do is you buy yourself a big old bundle of corn and you throw it out in a good spot, and you throw the corn every day. You bring out the corn. And at first the pigs are going to be a little leery, and they're not so sure about this corn. But the idea is this idea is a pile of free corn is pretty darn appetizing. So eventually they make their way to the free corn, and they eat it. Hey. And then every day they come back to make sure that there's more corn, and of course there always is more corn. And so while they're coming back, you put up a side of fence. Well, of course, they're going to notice the side of fence, and they're going to be a little leery about the side of fence.
But the corn's still there,
But the corn's still there. So eventually they say, the fence is there, but there's that corn I'm going to go and get. And so it goes. They keep coming back, and then next thing you know, you throw up another side of fence. They get a little leery, and the process repeats itself till eventually they're in their cage. Now, when they're in their cage, initially, they're a little bit freaked out that they're in a cage.
Yeah, they're probably running around oinking and squealing.
Yeah, but there's the free corn.
There's still
and you keep putting in the free corn, and maybe you put some other extra goodies in there. And the next thing you know, the pigs are pretty darn happy.
It's not so bad
being in the cage.
Yeah.
Is that where we are right now, America? Are we the pigs in the cage?
It's where it's not so bad being in the cage.
Yeah, it seems to me like our fences have been going up pretty darn steadily for the past 100 years in a variety of different mechanisms that they've used to do that, between the Federal Reserve and Social Security and the income tax, and then we have the let's say the Patriot Act and NDAA. All these fences are going up, and we just don't all seem to mind as long as we have our corn in the form of Sunday football and Dancing with the Stars and you know, give us some Honey Boo Boo and we're happy. Yeah. You know, give us our corn.
And we can prove that that's happening. But let's get to that after a little break here. Wet our whistle, and we'll come right back. All right, you're listening to Jim and Jeff Stanching Tyranny, every Saturday, 8 to 9. Give us a call, 609-407-1450. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Stanching Tyranny Hour with Jim and Jeff Stanch on WPG 1450 AM. You know, the SunPower solar lease is a really popular way for people to go solar these days, and I can see why. You can go solar with no upfront costs and no payment until the system is up and running. Not only that, but that payment will never go up during the 20-year life of the lease, and it's really easy to get started. All you have to do is give us a call at 856-939-6652. A lot of people out there are using the solar lease, and they've eliminated their electric bill. They've replaced it with a fixed lease payment that will never go up, and they're getting additional income every year from the system. Give us a call to find out more, 856-939-6652. The SunPower solar lease. There's no easier way to go solar. You can be green and earn some green. With the Noggin House Refer a Friend program, you and your friend can earn $200 each every time you refer a friend to SunPower Solar. It's easy to do, too. Just go to refersunpower.com/Noggin House and enter your name and email address. Then, follow the easy steps to refer your friend through email, Facebook, or Twitter. And then when your friend buys or leases a SunPower system, you each get $200. So you don't even have to have solar to enjoy the benefits. The SunPower Refer a Friend program. Go to refersunpower.com/Noggin House, enter your name and email address, and refer your friends to Noggin House. Do it today. You're listening to the Stanching Tyranny Hour with Jim and Jeff Stanch on WPG 1450 AM.
Welcome back, everybody. We're glad you could be here for the Stanching Tyranny Hour. And our premise here is we want to stanch the flow of tyranny. And we're like the wild pigs, aren't we? Mm-hmm. You know, give us a bunch of corn, and we're just going to continue to eat that corn and just not pay attention to what's going on, the fences being erected around us. Mm-hmm. And right now, the fences all revolve around the gun control. Right. And, boy, we have some great examples of that.
Oh, we sure do.
So,
it's been busy.
You know, I'm glad that the people, the smarter people than us are taking good care of things. For instance, in Elmont High School in New York, up in New York, Long Island area, thankfully, the 911 caller saw a suspicious teen wearing a black jacket, carrying a lime green gun.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Sounds like trouble.
That's right. So naturally, the reasonable response occurred, which was to dispatch the SWAT team to go ahead and search the school room by room and make sure that everything was safe. So they eventually found the lime green and yellow lever action Nerf gun. It wasn't semi-automatic, in a student locker, and they confiscated the toy gun to make sure that there was an abundance of precaution.
Oh, absolutely.
at the high school there in Nassau County.
So it wasn't a semi-automatic?
No, it wasn't. They checked that it wasn't semi-automatic.
Yeah.
And but thankfully they dispatched the SWAT team.
Oh.
And make sure that that
they
everything was fine. Yeah.
Over the Nerf gun.
The kids came and they were picked up. So you can't be too safe. You can't be too safe
against Nerf guns.
Yeah. Well, and not only Nerf guns. We also have bubble guns, of course.
Oh, right.
We talked about that earlier.
Mm-hmm.
But the girl there in Pennsylvania, in Northumberland County, they managed to detain this nefarious kindergartner.
Oh, 5-year-old.
Yeah, before she could exact her villainous deeds.
Of course.
Yeah.
Obviously, she was up to no good.
They were tipped off after someone overheard a conversation between the girl and one of her classmates in which she mentioned plans to shoot people with a bubble gun.
Oh, no.
That's right.
Oh,
yeah.
What will we do? So did they bring the SWAT team out on this one?
Well, they did the reasonable thing. They quickly isolated the girl and questioned her for 30 minutes. Then they went ahead and labeled her as a terrorist threat and sentenced her to a 10-day suspension.
Well, that's good. That's clearly this girl is out of control, and someone needs to do something.
That's right, and they did. Yeah, and so that school thankfully made it. They were very safe, and everything was fine there.
Yeah, excellent. Over the Hello Kitty bubble gun.
Yes.
Well, clearly they have a zero tolerance policy at the school.
Right.
Because.
You can't tolerate things like that.
It's still a gun, isn't it?
Next thing you know, a bubble gun's going to be an AK-47. That's how it all starts, with the bubble gun.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah. And we have another story of right there in Philadelphia.
Yeah, in our own backyard.
In our backyard, not far from us there. The little girl had...
This one was a paper gun.
Yeah, paper gun.
It was, imagine a square of paper.
Right.
Where one corner of the square was
torn out in another square shape.
Right, so what you end up with is the letter L, right?
Yeah.
Unless
you hold it by one of the legs of the L, and then what do you have, listeners?
You have a weapon of mass destruction.
A gun.
Yeah.
A gun.
So this story happened right in Philadelphia. A little girl named Melody had this paper gun in her pocket, apparently.
Oh, and, that's like a concealed weapon, is it not?
Yeah, well, she had gone to throw away the gun.
See? Yeah. She's trying to throw it away so it's in the trash can so that her accomplice can retrieve. I've seen this in the movies 1,000 times.
I didn't think of that.
See, that's the way they do it.
So
see?
she was like, she was there to put the
weapon in
for the
actual shooter
who was going to come,
the accomplice, retrieve it out of the trash can and exact their terrorism over the school.
Well, the story,
I've seen it in the movies 1,000 times.
Yeah, well, the story didn't say anything about the accomplice.
All right.
But I think you're probably right. Yeah. I mean, that makes sense. This was clearly very well planned out, and highly orchestrated. So
that's the way these terrorists operate.
Well, don't you worry, because an intrepid classmate notified the relevant authorities that she was doing this, and they stopped the threat immediately.
Wow. You know, isn't that great?
Yeah, because she was yelled at and told that she shouldn't have brought a gun to school, and she told them that it was just a piece of paper and.
Why? So she's trying to trivialize it.
Well,
that's
that's
ridiculous.
What they do.
That is what
that's
they do.
That's what they do.
That's what these gun nut people do. You know, you don't need
a piece of paper shaped like a gun to shoot people with. You can crunch it up into a ball and throw it at somebody.
Right.
Why does it have to be shaped like a gun? That's like the legislature here in New Jersey.
Shirley Turner. She says
state senate.
State senate. Yeah. She says that people cling to their guns more tightly than they cling to their Bibles. That's what she said right here on the station.
Yeah, like this little girl apparently.
Yeah. So But, Senator Shirley, she's got it all figured out. She says, quote, "We know that the criminals are not going to give up their guns. But at the same time, if there are guns on the street or in the homes laying around, because everybody has their guns just laying around. That's
what you do if you're a gun owner.
Yeah, you just leave them on the coffee table, or maybe you accidentally trip over it because it's in the middle of the dining room.
You walk in the front door and there's a gun there and you trip over it.
But can I say, I hate when I step on bullets with bare feet.
Oh, that hurts.
That really hurts, especially if they're the pointy-ended bullets.
That's why
the round ones aren't so bad, but the hollow points really come in handy because when you step on them, it doesn't hurt quite as so bad.
But that's why I always wear slippers in the house.
That's a good idea.
Protect my feet from the stepping on the bullets.
Yeah, so at homes laying around, they can possibly be stolen and be used in the commission of a crime or during the heat of an argument. If there's a gun in the home, someone may grab that gun and use it and regret it forever, and we have children who gain access to these guns. Yeah, so that's Shirley, and she goes
got
on.
It all figured out.
She does. She says, it's hard to get people to really realize that the Second Amendment doesn't entitle you to have automatic or semi-automatic weapons.
It doesn't?
No, and never mind the fact that we haven't been able to have automatic weapons for eons.
Well, see, I always thought that the Constitution was written to say what the government couldn't do. But apparently it's written to say what we, the people, can't do.
No, Shirley has it all figured out. Here it is here. When the Constitution was written, all they had was a musket. I don't have any problem with everybody owning a musket.
Oh, yeah, of course.
But you don't need a semi-automatic weapon to hunt. I'd hate to see the rabbit or deer that you shoot with a semi-automatic weapon. It just doesn't make sense.
Oh, thank you, Shirley. You're going to let us have a musket?
Shirley cares so much about us and keeping us safe.
Thank
you, Shirley. Thank you.
Is it all right if I have one of those newfangled paper guns?
Or maybe, can I have a musket that actually is with burnished wood and a nice long barrel?
Yeah.
Please? You'll let us, won't you? And while you're at it, can we have a piece of stale bread with butter that falls off your opulent table while you feast at
our
State
expense
Senate table? Can we just have a crumb of bread, please?
Thank you, Shirley. Yeah.
Because you know us so well.
And clearly you understand the Constitution and everything that it means.
Yeah.
I didn't know you were such a scholar. We had the constitutional scholar.
Yeah, Shirley. She's all about the Constitution.
Yeah, clearly.
Yeah, that's what it takes. That's definitely what it takes.
We have a phone call. Why don't we go to Jim in Longport? Good morning, Jim.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
Well, let me say something to you. The guns are here forever. Cigarettes are here forever. The booze is here forever. Gambling is here forever. It's all here. The only thing going away are the politicians and us. That's all. All that stuff will still be here when we're gone.
Mm-hmm.
They ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, absolutely.
They just, and they talk about nonsense. They're doing no work at all. It's all nonsense, and people don't understand because they don't understand that all empires come and go.
Yep.
It's a rule of history. It's a fate of history.
Yep.
Yeah, it's all for show, Jim.
It all comes and it all goes.
So what do you think we'll be reading about in 100 years, Jim, the decline of the American empire? Do you think they'll say it was in the 21st century, or do you think they'll say it started
absolutely. Well, it's been coming. It's been coming for decades.
It has, yep.
It stopped during World War II in the 50s, and then it kicked in again with Mr. Lyndon Johnson.
Yeah.
However, and also, when you unionize the schools, the teachers and the parents used to run the school system, the PTA,
right.
The PTA you had.
Mm-hmm.
Now, of course, you've got unions and feds in the states and the school boards, the political hack school boards, and they run the school system now.
Yep.
They write the books. The feds write the books.
Yeah.
They wouldn't know the difference between Robespierre or France, these kids, and Roy Rogers.
Right.
It's over. They don't know nothing, and they're not interested.
Yeah,
they'll
never
all
teach
they're
them.
interested in today, where's me Heineken's? What time's the football game coming on? Who's going to go for the pizza? And here are the keys to my SUV.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. They're in for a hard lesson.
Yeah.
Because the young people today have no idea, and of course adults too, have no idea what's coming down the pike. They will know in the next year and a half.
Right.
They will know everything.
Yeah,
and it's just a shame, but we came close to it with Jimmy Carter.
Yeah.
So now it's full blossom. This is what they wanted. They don't know what they wanted or what they're getting, but soon they're going to find out, gentlemen, and they've got an education coming. Unfortunately, this is going to go on for quite a few generations.
It will, absolutely. All right, Jim, thank you for calling.
Have a nice day, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Too. Yeah, Jim's right. I want to say that Jim has a good point. When we look at these stories about the guns in the schools, right? I
want to say about this little girl with the paper gun.
Go right ahead.
She was suspended for 10 days.
10 days.
And that's disturbing enough. I mean, that's just ridiculous.
Right.
But even more disturbing, I think, is the fact that her classmates were calling her a murderer.
Wow.
The little kids were calling her a murderer. That's just crazy, and it speaks to what Jim's talking about. Yep. What are we doing to our kids? I mean, the best thing that could ever happen to that girl is she get out of that darn school for 10 days
and realize and never go back.
And never go back. Because they're being indoctrinated. They're being taught to fear everything except for SWAT teams and police officers and people in uniform.
And government.
And government.
Yeah.
Right.
And so what better way, really, let's think about this. What better way would there be to roll in the last leg of tyranny and martial law than to get your kids used to the idea of doors crashed by SWAT teams, armed people patrolling their schools. What better way to get them ready for tyranny than to do that?
Yeah.
For one, I won't participate in it, listeners. And the only way we're going to stop this
is if you don't
participate.
Yeah.
And we've all been sold into this notion that we got to work hard for dollars, we got to work hard for Federal Reserve notes, we got to pay our taxes, and paying taxes is the patriotic thing to do.
And
you know what?
And don't question it.
It's baloney.
Just do it.
Because they've made this system so that you feel obligated to work hard and slave, send your kids to their indoctrination centers and camps to get programmed for the martial law and the tyranny that's coming down the pipe.
Because it's brilliant, really.
It is.
If they can confiscate the guns now, and at the same time cultivate generations who absolutely fear guns and have no chance of ever wanting even remotely to own a gun, next thing you know, America, citizens are unarmed. Yeah. And that's beautiful, because then the tyrants can really step it up and take control and start to really do some evil things. And I'm afraid Jim might be right that we're on our way to that. You see this whole financial mess, the economy. We've said it before. We're in a currency war. Currency wars always lead to ground wars.
Yep. And
ground wars basically level the playing field and pay off the debts. And that's where we're headed. It's happened many times in the past, and it's going to happen again. It's the only way this debt can be paid off.
Yeah, it's the only way. It's the only way. They can't do it any other way. It can't be paid.
Right.
In the common notion of how you pay.
Yeah.
Right. It just can't.
Right.
And the thing is this isn't something that started with Barack Obama.
No.
It didn't start with George Bush. Mm-mm. It's been cooked into the cake for decades. And it's been coming a long time. It's right in the Communist Manifesto. Mm-hmm. All the things we're going through right now was in the Communist Manifesto, in the playbook, people.
It's planned, yeah.
They said, this is how you do it. It's right in there. Download the Communist Manifesto. You can get it online. It's free.
Mm-hmm.
And read it. This is the plan. They've planned it for a long time.
And they're very patient.
They're very patient. Yeah.
But they know what the reward is. The reward is power, and money.
Right.
And that's all they care about.
It is. It's just a game to them. Just like playing a board game to us is a game. To them, the world's the board.
Right.
Right?
Right.
They don't care about you. Pawn. They don't care about me. They don't care about any of us. They really don't. Mm-hmm. We have to care about ourselves. We have to be independent.
Yeah.
And we have to realize what's going on.
Right.
And figure out ways that we can say, you know what? I'm not participating.
Yeah, and
there's
ways that you can do that. You can generate your own energy with solar, and we help people do that every day.
Yeah.
Learn how to grow your own food. Buy some chickens. And cultivate your own eggs. Chickens are fun. We love our chickens. They're great.
We love our chickens. Yeah, buy some chickens.
Learn some new skills. I mean, hard skills. Tradecraft.
Yeah, tradecraft,
soldering, welding.
Building
things, fixing things. Don't spend all your time on the computer. If you have children, please teach them how to do these things.
They're going to need it.
Their generation, without a doubt, is going to face this. We may not be here to face it, but we know our kids will be.
Yeah,
and that's scary.
So life skills is important.
Yeah,
sewing and cooking, and just take a look at food and how food can be handled. We've been talking all morning about the hot dog broth and what a joke that is, right? Mm-hmm. But really, it's not.
No,
because as silly as it sounds, you cannot waste that.
Right.
You can use that liquid for something else.
Yeah, everything.
And that's sustainability.
Yeah.
The other thing we have to stop doing is if we stop asking the politicians for the solution, then we won't get a solution from them. When something happens in the world, don't call your politicians and say, please do something. Mm-hmm. Call your politicians and say, I want you to do nothing.
Absolutely.
I want you to go home and shut up and sit down just like Lindsey Graham says. That's what I want you to do. I want to be left alone. I want my liberty. That's what we need to do.
All right. That's the end of the show. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next week.